you just make sure where he's got plenty on there. And what I do is I pinch it so that I can just use this and hold it in place.
Okay.
And then just tuck the little extra piece. Oops, I was opening it like Matthias is coming too. You have to stay. I know, he's leaving you. Okay, I guess that didn't turn on. There we go. It's like, I guess that didn't turn on. Okay, so what you're going to be doing with Wiley is you're going to be doing lunging, and we're going to be working on that. So I want to help you get confident in actually what you're asking for.
Okay.
Now, Matthias Hunter has a tendency to kind of just look at you like, I don't know that one, dude. So this way you know if you're doing it right or not, as opposed to kind of sitting out here and confidence, project to the horse. Because if you project it to the horse, then he's going to be like, well, I don't know if that mountain lion's going to eat us. I don't trust you as my leader. And gradually the horse will either start trying to dominate you to become the leader themselves, or they'll try to evade you completely just because you're dangerous to them.
Okay.
So lack of confidence is going to be one of the things that we are going to try to get rid of. So we're going to make him a little more comfortable just so he has more mobility, or better mobility. Okay, so I always start my circles with kind of the fairness of saying, back up and wait for me to tell you what to do. Because this way, the game starts, as opposed to you just now suddenly telling him who's just hanging out with you, go out on the circle, and he's going to be like, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. This way, you're automatically saying, ready, set, go. So you're going to ask him to back away from you. So what I do is I drop the line completely on the ground except for the popper. This leather piece is the popper.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wiggle my finger at him first and be like, I think you want to back up. And if he chooses not to, then I'm going to wiggle it in front of me. If he chooses not to, then I'm going to wiggle it in front of him. So this is how your phases will come up. If he chooses not to respond to it wiggling in front of him, then you're going to make that snap move. And if he still chooses, now you have that higher phase, which is you're going to make that snap bang him in the chin.
Yeah.
And he'll back up then, I'm sure. So go ahead. First, it's a suggestion, because you want to be as gentle as you can be, so that way in the future, you only have to be gentle. Now, if he were to come towards me, that means that he's not really listening. So you're going to tell him, because they should always back up straight when they're listening. Good? Good boy. Now, ask him to back up to the full length of the rope. So just keep going until he gets to where you want him. So you're going to have that in your mind as to where you want him to end up. So you don't stop until he gets there. So now he phased out, so you're going to go up and this is called turning up your volume. So you stay right where you are, and you're going to ask him by moving that rope a little bit more under him now and say, excuse me, we're not done. Good. And then you can go back to quiet and see if quiet is enough again. Good. So you always want to offer him the softest deal. Yeah. So if you have to go, excuse me, I said back up. Okay, but if he still ignores you, you can say, excuse me, I said back up. Like, so you have those volumes that you can use, but always want it to be where you're just having a nice, polite conversation. So now you're going to pick a direction. Left or right, doesn't matter to me. But when you're going to choose that direction, the hand that can tell him to go the farthest is the hand that you're going to want the rope in. So if you say you're going to have him go that way, you want the rope in your right hand. Now, the trick is, it seems logical to say I'm going to tell him to go that way. But truthfully, if you watch that line from the horse to your hand, you're bringing the horse to you. So you want to tell him as a sense of direction. So you're going to project to him the image of, I want your body to turn towards that camera. Okay, so that's actually where you're going to point. And then, I know, he's like, what do you want me to do? So now what you're going to do is you're going to point to that camera, and then you're going to ask his front feet to cross over towards that camera, but we're not going to ask him to leave. We're just going to ask him to turn that way. But now wiggle so he doesn't leave, because we didn't tell him to go anywhere. We didn't give him a go cue. Yeah, okay. The other thing we can do to help you so you don't smack yourself with that popper, hold that popper, like grip it like a, there you go. This way you're not smacking yourself. Good. Now try again, yep. Now this time, good, and stop, good. Now just kind of like let yourself go neutral so he knows not to leave. Wiggle, so he's just confused, that's okay. He's kind of telling you, I don't know what this means. That's good, okay. So that's feedback, because he wasn't sure if maybe you weren't sure, but you didn't give him a kiss, and a kiss means go. So he does know that. So you're gonna, now there's a couple ways you can help him. You can now do it more close contact, where you can go up closer and say, I was really only talking to your front feet to move. I really wasn't telling your whole body to go anywhere. So you can take up the slack and come in half the distance and point him again that way and say, I don't actually want you to leave. Good, and wiggle. There, good. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, that's right. It's like, oh, okay, I get it now. So this time you're gonna do that again. You're gonna ask him only to move his front feet in the direction. He's sassing you, he's being a little brat. It's okay, yep, good, that was right. The wiggle meant don't, yep, we scratched and made him itchy. So ask him to take one step back again, because he kind of got away with, through that little activity there, he got away with moving up in the space. So as he ignores you, you make it, no, Hunter, we're not, so they go sideways when they're confused. Now you can get louder and say, wrong answer. There you go, good. So I'm gonna have you pause, so kind of just go neutral, okay? As they get confused, they're gonna try other tricks. It's kind of like having a cookie in your hand and having your dog go through sit, lay down, roll, you know, all that trick stuff. So that's what he's doing. He's kind of like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, so I know you don't get mad at me if I do this because it's cute. So you're gonna politely say, yeah, but that's not what I was asking you to do. And if he still kind of gets himself frazzled and starts fizzing out and coming towards you still, then you're gonna make it uncomfortable for him. And you're just gonna get a little bit louder. And then when he stops moving, you go as quiet as you can so he knows that that was the right answer, to stop moving. And then you go back to work, okay? So you always wanna just like kind of interrupt their thoughts, because if their thoughts become kind of self-induced, where they say, well, you know, you're not really telling me what to do, so I'm just gonna go do whatever I want, then gradually you become invisible and they don't care what you have to say when you really mean it. Yeah. Okay, so go ahead and ask him to turn to the mirror. Sorry, over there. Good, and good. Wiggle, yep, wiggle. Good. Now go over and scratch him, just because he's having a little bit of a hard time. Good. So this time we're gonna back him to the end of the line again. All the way to the end of the full line too this time. Yep, take up your phases as he's not listening. Yep, yep. Good, no, he's doing it perfect. Yep. Yes, yep, back up. Because when he's at liberty, he needs something to tell him that. Yep. This is all, you prepare, just go neutral for a second. You prepare every horse for what it'll be in liberty. So you prepare all your hand cues based on what they're gonna need to know when there's nothing else, there's no tools.
No lead rope, yeah.
Okay. So that's why everything I teach with, like when I teach the over cue, I teach it by doing the bending. So that way my hand's already up here. So that way when there's no rope, my hand still says this is the over cue. Okay, this time we're gonna point in a direction, which we'll might as well use the same direction. And this time we're gonna kiss, which means I do want you to move your feet.
You're holding an image too while you're asking them, is that right?
Yes, don't wiggle now because you do want him to walk. So now put your hand down in neutral because he's supposed to just be responsible. So your hand down to your side. Yep. You can keep your focus on his feet or his shoulder, but don't stare at his eye because you will make him uncomfortable if you stare at his eye. That's why they tend to look out on a circle. We allow the scratches. Go ahead. Hunter, pay attention. Okay, so stop trying to lead him around. Keep your hand in neutral. His responsibility is to just stay on that circle. If you feel like he's gonna step on the line, you can take up some of the slack, but otherwise you wanna make sure your hand just stays to your side. So keep your hand like at your belt line. There you go. Good. Now go over and scratch him, just because he's having a little bit of a hard time. Good. Now go over and scratch him, just because he's not listening. Yep. Good. So keep your hand like at your belt line. There you go. Because you don't need to keep telling him to go, because when you want to tell him to go, which is going to be in a second, I'm going to have you point again, same direction, but you're going to kiss twice, and that means trot. Ready? Point up, kiss twice. Good. Good. Now put your hand back down in neutral. He's sassing you a little bit. So wave at his shoulder to tell him to get out, away from you with your other hand. So you're going to like drive him away. There you go. Good. Now, leave him alone.
So when he's coming in, you want to use the other hand.
Yeah, to kind of like brush him away.
Yeah. Because that happens a lot, I think, with a lot of people in their minds, right?
Yes. Good. Now, when he gets towards me, you're going to look at his tail like you're looking to see if he's got something in his tail. You're going to bump his nose and ask him to spin away and look at you. So bump his nose with the line. Well, he got it anyway. Good. Good. Now tell him stay out there. I didn't invite you in. So wiggle to tell him to stay out. Good. So your wiggle is always going to mean, stand. Is always going to mean, stand. I love you. Yes. Is always going to mean back up, stop, slow down. Don't do that. Pay attention. Tapping on the shoulder. So anytime that they're doing something you don't want, except for if they're already going backwards, because if they're already going backwards, wiggling is only going to encourage that backward flow. So you want to make sure that the only time you don't wiggle is if you want to stop them from going backwards or stop them from going faster. Like if you say you want him to stay at the trot, if you wiggle, he will break down to the walk, and if that's not what you wanted, he still listened to you. So, and always kind of keep that in mind, that did I say that? Because if you did say it, then it's your fault, not his, and he can't be in trouble for it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so ask him to back up. Yep, he's not listening, so now, now get louder because he's doing something completely opposite of what you want. And then say, now please back up. Yep, yep, yep. Good, good, perfect, because the wrong answer was coming forward, and you said, no, I didn't say go forward. Good. So now change hands, and you're going to tell him to go towards those jumps. Yep. And now kiss. Raise the other hand in support, like kind of just out to your side. Good. He's got great attention on you, though. Now put your hands down. You don't need to keep leading him around. Good. Tell him you can go like you're trying to brush him away out. So then he'll take up the extra line. And then as he does, then you're going to no longer tell him to do that, because the more energy you give him, the faster he's going to go. So now raise your hand again and tell him to trot. Good. Oh, he's a little off. Okay, look at his tail and bump his nose. See if you can get him to spin his tail away. Good. Good. Wiggle so he doesn't come in. Good. Good. So we're not going to trot because he's a little off. It itches. Good. Now ask him to back away. Good. He really has great attention on you. He doesn't, his focus is incredible for you.
He's very present.
Okay. So now invite him in. Now how you're going to do that, backing up is a very get back kind of feel. When you invite them in, you're going to lean over and just gently invite him with a smile on your face. Just, let him come in. As soon as he comes as close as you think, you should always have, say, like a yoga ball distance between you and his nose. As soon as he gets to the distance that you prefer, then you stand up straight, and that means that's far enough. If he doesn't respect you standing up straight as being his indication that that's far enough, then you're going to wiggle and say, but I said that's far enough. They can learn the tiniest micro expressions. So for him to be able to recognize that when you stood up, that meant stop, and he doesn't respect that, then you have the right to say, but I said, sir, and then just go relax. The key is you notice when horses relax, they cock their leg. The key is to always want to be in that position for yourself. That's your goal. I want to be able to tell him to do this, and I just stand here like this. That's all I want to be able to do. And when I want to say something, I come alive, and then he's supposed to go, yes, and then you tell him what to do, and then you go back into a relaxed position. Everything you do with him should be completely relaxed unless you're asking him to do something. Okay, so now invite him back to you. So it's kind of a lean over, please come see me. And now you're going to keep combing the rope. You're just going to keep dragging your hand down the rope. Yep, exactly, exactly. And as he comes, when he's close enough, you're going to stand up and say that's far enough. And I would say that's almost too close. It's close because if he can kind of reach out and get a little taste of your jacket, he's likely to do that. So ask him to take a step. One more, that other front. Good. And now you can go scratch him. So when you're dealing with horses and you are trying to project yourself as the lead horse, which is what you're supposed to do. When there's two of you, you're a herd of two, and you need to be the leader of those two. And in order for you to be that leader, you have to let him understand that I come, I groom you, and if I say it's okay, you can touch me back. But don't ever come touch me first, because that's not how that works in a herd. The lead horse is the only one that can groom on anybody, but nobody can go groom on him unless he's asked for it. Okay. I'm going to have you also do a mirroring thing with him, and he's really, really good at it. I'm going to show you what it is first. Okay? Back. Back. So I'm going to tell his nose to go that way by giving him a turn signal. Good. And I'm going to ask him to go. So by asking him to go, I warned him, right? I said, we're going to go for a walk. Get up here. I'm going to tell him he needs to stay with me. He needs to stay right here. Our legs need to be equal. If he falls behind, I'm going to say, excuse me, you need to catch up. By just giving him the warning with my hand, you need to catch up. If he chooses not to, I can say, excuse me, I said catch up. So you have your extra line behind you to warn him that he better start listening. Again, in a herd, when one horse leaves, the other horse goes with them. He's worried I'm going to swing around again. So he should, without hesitation, pick a trot because I do. He should walk because I do. He should stop because I do. He should back up because I do. Okay? He should turn and go the other way because I told him to. Okay? He should walk when I tell him, stop when I tell him, walk when I tell him, trot when I tell him. Yeah, it's okay. I tripped. He's like, but over. Yep. Come on. Over. Hey. Over. And we don't usually do it this way, but you can do it this way too. Over. Hunter. Good boy. Over. He knows when I use that. It's like the middle name thing. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to let him off the hook, and this is letting him off the hook. I'm going to tell him it's close enough. Oh boy, that's asking me a question. Did I do good? So yes, he deserves the reward. Yes, when both ears come at you and they give you two eyes, they're asking you a question. It could be something like, is that supposed to be scary? There could be, you just kind of have to perceive the question for what it is. Like he asked if that was okay, if he did good, can he stop? And now he's allowed to relax. And he understood that when I pet him, it meant you're off the hook, I'm talking. So the only time he should come alive now is if I suddenly come alive, he should come alive. Good. Now I'm telling him he can relax again. Have you do the mirror. When you say you're going to mirror with a different horse, the only thing that happens when you stop, they swing out. It's natural. So that when you're teaching them how to work with you on a mirroring type of game, you're going to do it on the line. You're going to do it down where there's a wall so they can't get away from you, where they can't swing out from you. As you develop a relationship with your horses, you're going to find that that's kind of really kind of cool, because you could do this at Liberty where he could be loose and you could call him to your side, and then you could do, where I do like with the kids, I do grandpa walking. Hunter, we're working now. We're working. Worker. Hunter. Pay attention. No, over. Come on, pay attention. Hunter. Over. Pay attention. There you go, good. You're right, that's right. So because he's confused, I'm letting him know he did it right this time. Step up. So good. Over, Why are you trying to leave? There you go. There you go. Come on. There it is. Good boy. And then you can pick up the pace, bring it back down, you know. So it's kind of fun to play with where he actually does a Spanish walk. Do it. No.
Oh! Kirsten's in the house!
Good boy.
Two more steps, come on. I'm gonna take a video. Wait.
Okay.
Boy.
No! That is not happening.
Other one. Other one. Yep. You cheat. Good. Other one.
Maybe
No, he cheats.
maybe the other one hurt.
No, he cheats. He's always cheated.
Wait, do it again. I'm sorry. Oh, it's filming me. Okay, go.
All right. Ready? You're right. You're right. No, I'm not telling you back up. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Hunter. Yeah, no, I'm being videotaped now. Hunter. Hey. Yep. Good. Good. Go ahead. Yep. Come on. Yep. Good boy. Cheater. Come on.
Maybe that right leg is going to hurt.
Hunter. There you go. Go boy. Go boy.
Yeah, maybe he hurt a muscle on that leg, and that's what hurts. Maybe he slipped in the ice or something on the right leg.
It's possible. He's always been half-hearted on one more than the other. Like this one, he's always been real good about giving me a full
How do you
full
feel
stretch.
like he's mimicking you?
Yeah, yeah.
He's definitely really cute.
Oh my god, I love this pony.
Okay. And remember, always double back instead of wrap around. So I don't want to see you get your fingers broken. Good boy.
Over.
So the only reason he's slightly confused is because the over command, if you do it at his ribs, he's not 100% sure. The over command is an up in the air command.
It is up in the air.
Yep, so it's like a snap, you snap at his hip, and he should bring his hip over to you. Okay. So you always warn him. See, especially if you're hanging out, like if you're hanging out, chit-chatting or whatever, you always warn him. I mean, you wouldn't want me to be like hanging out with talking to you, you know, and then just grab you by the arm and yank you somewhere, right? That's not cool. So if I say, hey, we're going to leave now, right? That's the nicer way to do it. So that's what I do with him, is I say, hey, we're going to leave now. So I give him the front hand forward, and then I start moving in my body. Good. Now, don't look at him. Go. If he's behind, you're going to know he's behind because you can't see him. So ask him to catch up. So that way, and don't look back at him. Just ask him to catch up. Put your hand forward and say, get up here. Good. And then walk. Wiggle to a walk. Good. Yep. As he falls behind, because he's going to test you. So you're going to say, catch up here. And if he should respond to the fact that you are not running, and he should only walk. Now, if you feel that you're walking so much that Mighty Dog has to, then that makes sense, obviously. So you can adjust only to that. But if you're working with a bigger horse, don't ever adjust your gait. He should adjust his gait to you. So he's chosen trot because he clearly believes there. Good. Now stop. Now wiggle him backward to catch up to you. You don't go backward though. Good. Now he thinks he's going to. There you go. Except for you did not warn him with your hand. So now this is always going to be a let's go warning. Yep. Stop. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. See, he took a total, yep, and then over, yep. Good. Now don't let him push you, because see how he got you to move? So you got to pay attention to how he's the boss horse of those two. So he's going to see if he's the boss horse of you two. Good. Now, slightly lean forward in your body, but I want him walking first. Slightly lean forward in your body when he's walking and you've made the decision mentally that you're about to start to trot. He should be able to perceive that and trot with you. Good. But you were supposed to run too. There you go. And walk. Stand up straight. Walk. There. Perfect. Now, did you see how that felt? That felt mirrored, right? Yeah. So that's what you want to do. You want to give him, you need to trot when you're expecting him to follow that image. Good, good, very good. I'm glad that you're sensitive to those things because it's important to them that they believe they're allowed to scratch an itch. Walk, make him walk. There you go. Tell him you want to trot in your mind first and then in your body, and then he should trot with you. Excellent. But make sure he catches up. Get him to catch up. Good. And walk. If he continues to trot past what you want, then you're going to wiggle him to say, excuse me, I was not walking trotting anymore. Good. Now, I'm going to have you come towards me, and then I'm going to have you turn back out and around. So when you come towards me, then you're going to, Hunter, stop it. He's sassing you. So now you're going to give him a turn signal, and you're going to turn his nose and his front end all the way around and head the other way. Yep, good.
Licking, chewing now.
Yep, well, he's kind of getting away with some stuff here, so he's saying he's figured this out. So turn his nose. Okay, so the hand that's next to him can be your turn signal. So if you're in your car and you're going to go that way, you're going to point that way, right? You're not going to start from over here on the window and say, I'm going to go that way. So you want to make sure that when you tell him which way you're going to go, you're pointing the hand that makes the most sense. So when you're next to him, you're just going to say, I'd like you to turn your nose that way. And he knows it's sensitive enough to where you could just do 2 fingers at his nose and he'll turn. So ask him to do a full circle. Yep. And you kind of stay in a position to where he understands to pivot his front end. Yep. If he ignores you or gets too far ahead, you can wiggle to control his speed. There you go. So now stop him. Ask him to back up to you. Now, he's got an itch. He's changed his mind. He had an itch on that leg. Okay. So now, without him moving his hind end very much, I want you to make him do an entire circle around himself. So you basically want him to...
This way? Right.
Yep.
Without me moving?
No, you're going to walk his front end around. Yep. But, yep, there. Perfect. Control the going forward. Yep. Control the going forward. But now you make sure you stay in the right position, because as you're falling out of position, he's going to lose the idea what you want. So you want to stay up there by his face. See, he's losing now. He's thinking it's coming around with the hind end.
You want to turn on the haunches.
Yes.
So you don't...
Yep, you could tap him if he's decided that he's gonna, but you're gonna make it more rhythmic because you stay rhythmic. There you go. Good. Yep. Okay. So the only thing I'm gonna change is it seems kind of suspicious. Okay, so it's very soft and sweet, and that's good. But with him, we're going to want it to be very deliberate. So I'm going to tell him, I want your nose to go this way. And I can do it nice and tell him, but don't go forward. And let him settle back. Because by him going forward, he's making me have to catch up to him. So I can make him settle back onto his haunches and say, no, good. Okay? So I want it to be where you're presenting yourself as certain of what you're doing, so that way he can be certain of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so now ask him to do that again. Yep. Yep, there you go. Good. And stop and scratch it. Good boy. Good. So see how that felt a little different?
Stronger.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be even so much that it's more physically stronger. It could just be that you're intent, you're clear about what you're seeing for him.
Yeah.
To cross over to the other side of him, I want you to put your hand on his nose and then cross over the other side of him so he knows not to leave and that you're just going to go the other side. Good. Now do it the other direction. Yep. Cheater. Good. If he's making you catch up, then you make him slow down. Yep. There. Good. And stop. Good. Okay. So I'm going to go with, you've got a good feel today of what it feels like to truly tell him what you want. With Wiley, when you're going to work with Wiley, you want the same exact presence of, I want you to back up. And then you have that in your mind. I want you to back up. And pick where you want him to back up to. You say, I've already envisioned you backing up 15 steps or whatever. And then until you get there, you don't stop telling him to get there. And then you do whatever you have to do to manage it in case he gets worried and goes this way. It's like, hey, you know, you can get his attention and say, I said I want you to back up there. Then once he's there, then you tell him, I'm going to turn the page to the next picture. And the next picture is, I want you to go that way. Or the next picture is, I want you to go that way. The next picture includes walking or trotting or whatever. So this way, he can go there and wait for you to turn the page. And he'll stand there and he'll ask you, what next? And that's what you want. You want to always ask them to back away and then have them go, and what would you like me to do? If they go back and they're like, you don't have the connection that you need to start making stuff happen. But when you get them to back up and then they go, what would you like me to do? Then I'd like you to go that way. And as long as you project it exactly how it should look, they'll be able to do it exactly how you think it should look. So he's fun to play with, and he'll always tell you when you're messing up. Either he won't do anything, or he'll get scatterbrained like he did a couple times with us. But as you can see, he knows everything. So if you do it right, it's going to look like you want it to look. So what I would do if I were you, I would spend 10, 15 minutes with him every time before you do a session with Wiley, so you get the feel. It's like kind of like sitting in the car before you test drive it. You know, you get the feel of him. Then you go, okay, so now I know what that's supposed to look like with the horse himself. Get the horse and then try it with a horse that doesn't know it. But your confidence has to be certain of what it looks like. So I think that's a good place to end with him.
Boy Hunter.
Throw his blanket back on too.
What a good boy. So cute.
Hunter, I just think you're so special. You really think like so how good you were? And still in the photo? You
This thing gets cold. It doesn't.